The explainer. You ever stop and think about how a massive global company manages to track, well, billions of transactions without a single penny getting lost? It's a huge challenge. So today, we're going to follow the journey of just one single dollar to see exactly how they do it. Okay, so let's really picture this. We're talking about a company that's everywhere. Dozens of countries, thousands of employees, millions of customers. How on earth do they keep a handle on every single expense, every sale, every financial move, and make sure it all balances out perfectly? It seems almost impossible, right?
Well, the answer is pretty incredible. They use something that's basically a digital nervous system for their finances. Think of it like a central brain that connects every single part of the business. And the system we're digging into today, SAP S4HANA, is built to be precisely that financial brain. So what's the secret sauce here? It all comes down to a really core principle. At the absolute heart of this whole thing is one master ledger, and it's called the Universal Journal. You can literally think of it as the ultimate source of truth. Every single financial event, I mean everything, no matter how small, gets written down right here. This ensures there's only one version of the story for the whole company. No more confusion.
All right, so if the Universal Journal is kind of like the city's central hall of records, what does the rest of this financial city look like? It helps to picture the company's entire financial operation as this huge, bustling metropolis with all these different districts, and each one has its own specific job to do. And here are just a few of those key districts. You've got one department for all the money the company owes other people. That's payables. Then you have another for all the money that's supposed to be coming in. That's receivables. You've got folks tracking valuable stuff the company owns, like buildings or machines, others managing the cash flow and risk. And that Universal Journal? It's sitting right there in the middle, making sure every single one of these districts is talking to each other. Okay, so that's the 30,000-foot view, but to really get how this all clicks together, we need to zoom way, way in. We're going to follow the journey of a single, simple transaction as it makes its way through this financial city. So let's set the scene. Our case study is a place we'll call the bike company. And what just happened is they paid a sales commission to one of their top employees. Seems pretty simple, right? It's a totally normal, everyday business expense. But how the system handles this one small payment, well, that's where the real power is. And this right here, this brings us to the absolute key question. It's not nearly enough for the system to just know that, say, $100 went out the door. To make smart business decisions, the company has to know why. What was that $100 for? Was it for building the bikes? Was it part of selling them? Or was it just to keep the lights on in the office? The answer, and it's kind of brilliant in its simplicity, is all about a labeling system. It's a system that lets the company take all that raw data and build completely different kinds of financial reports, essentially telling different stories with the exact same numbers. This is where it gets really cool. You see, a company can look at its finances in a couple of ways. The first way, period accounting, is like looking at your bank statement. It just tells you what you spent in a given month. But the second way, cost of sales accounting, is way smarter. It asks a much more useful question. For every single bike we sold, what did it actually cost us to make it and then to sell it? You see the difference? It's all about the purpose of the spending, not just the timing. So how does the system know which story to tell? It uses this special tag called a functional area. Just think of it like a digital post-it note that gets stuck on every single expense, sorting it by its business purpose. You know, this was for production, this one was for sales, this was for running the office, and so on. And here's a look at some of those digital filing cabinets. Every major business activity gets its own unique code. So you've got a bucket for production, another for administration, one for R&D, and the one that matters for our little story here, YB30, which stands for sales and distribution. Okay, let's bring it back to our bike company. The moment that sales commission gets paid, bam, the transaction gets tagged with that sales and distribution functional area. And just like that, in that one instant, the system doesn't just know how much money was spent, it knows exactly why it was spent. And this right here is where the magic really happens. That one simple act, just tagging one single transaction, unlocks a whole new universe of business insight. Because of that one little tag, the company can now run a report that tells a powerful story.
They can see, clear as day, exactly how much money they're spending to sell their bikes versus how much they're spending to design them. And this is how they make those huge critical decisions. Like should our next $1 million go into a big marketing campaign, or should we pour it into R&D to build an even better bike? You see, this creates this incredible value chain, all built on data. It all starts with one tiny, perfectly tagged transaction. That single data point then gets rolled up into these really insightful reports, and then that huge collection of clean, beautifully organized data, well, that becomes the perfect rocket fuel for AI to come in, find patterns, and even start predicting what's going to happen next. And that's really where this is all heading. All that careful, meticulous work of organizing today's transactions is what makes the intelligent systems of tomorrow possible. AI can take this purpose-driven data and start suggesting smarter ways to run the business, finding ways to cut costs, and spotting opportunities that a human might never see. So it all leaves us with this final thought. Tracking one little sales commission. It seems so small, right? But when you do that perfectly, billions of times over, you end up with this stunningly clear, high-definition picture of your entire business. The real question, then, isn't about the past. It's about the future. Once you have that kind of clarity, what do you decide to build next?
Payables management.